Welcome back to the More Than Gardening YouTube channel. I am Sam, and today we're out here building cattle panel trellises. This is 2 of them already done. We're about to build our 3rd one, so we're going to take you along and show you how we're doing it. But basically, the build is pretty simple. You just need 1 cattle panel, and it's 50 inches wide by 16 feet long, and you need 4 6-foot T-posts. And they actually even come with, if you get them from Tractor Supply, they'll come with these little clips to clip them on. So really don't need a whole lot of materials, and they're pretty quick to build. So let's get into it and we'll show you how we're making them. Something to keep in mind when you're building these and when you're setting them up is really about the placement of them in your garden in regards to the sun. Because once we start planting on either side of these, we're gonna have crops growing all the way up, and anything between or anything behind them with the sun on the other side is going to get shaded out. So for us, with all these 3 on the back end, our sun goes like this, and we get the bulk of the sun when it starts over here and goes down this way. So these trellises aren't going to shade these out because they're next to them. Whereas if we would have built the trellises connecting, say, this way, we would have had a really tall structure right here blocking the sun from hitting this raised bed and then all those ones. So just keep in mind, wherever you're putting your trellises, they are going to shade out whatever's behind them. So we're going to start over here and put the one between these 2 beds. So we're starting with one of these 6-foot T-posts, and we're just lining it up right at the edge of this bed. And Dylan is going to take this hammer and start hammering this in. And he's gonna have to climb up on the bed to do it and not crush my onions. If you have a T-post driver, this step would be probably much easier, but we didn't have one, so we just started with Dylan hammering them in a little bit just to get them stable. And then what we found works best is I hold the stake in place using the hammer, which you can see there, and then he is just pounding it into the ground with a sledgehammer. And to make sure that the T-posts are in the ground deep enough and are going to be super secure, we wanted to go a little farther past the anchors, so we ended up sledgehammering these into about 50 to 51 inches. Once our first T-post was totally in the ground and secure, we grabbed our second one and spaced it about 48 inches over. You really don't want to go wider than 48 inches because the cattle panel itself is 50 inches, and you need it to overhang or go past the T-post at least a little bit in order to get the clips to secure onto it, which you'll see in a later step. So we were positioning these at about 47 to 48 inches apart. Once it's placed, again, I'm using the hammer to kind of keep it straight and stable. That way Dylan can use the sledgehammer and pound it into the ground. Once that second one is in, you can then place 2 more T-posts across from those. Our raised beds are spaced 4 feet apart, and you don't have to do these between raised beds. You can totally set up this trellis freestanding, but we really like that 4-foot distance because it allowed the panel to bend enough to be high enough to walk under, but it's not going to be so tall that we won't be able to reach the vegetables. So I really recommend a 4-foot gap in between your T-posts. And after those are all into place, you can bring your cattle panel in to put it between the 4 T-posts. Now, this isn't a super difficult step, but I do think you need at least 2 people minimum in order to do this. It's pretty bendy, it's not super heavy, but it's 16 feet long, so it is a lot to manage. What we found easiest to do just in our situation, because of the way they're placed in the raised beds, is we both grabbed an end and then I walked my end in between the T-post and set my end down, and then Dylan was able to climb up onto the raised bed very carefully, not to step on any of my onions, and just feed the cattle panel through until it formed a hoop, and then he's gonna put his end in. So once your cattle panel is up and looped around, it really stays in place pretty good, but you do need to secure it. We got our T-posts from Tractor Supply, and they came with these little, I don't know, hook connects, whatever you want to call it. So we're using 2 of these. We're placing one near the top and then one above the bed. But then once you get lower, there's not really enough space to get one of these behind, so we're just going in with zip ties. We're going to take one of these up here, try to show you one-handed, and it Maybe Dylan can help. And you loop it around there, and then you loop that one. And they make special toys. They make special tools to then wrap this around perfectly and easily. We don't have that tool, so we're using pliers. And this seems to work just fine for us. And these hooks they come with are rated for what, like 250 pounds, I think? Yeah, 250 pounds. So do one there. We're gonna do one right here. And then again, zip tie the bottom. And we're gonna go through and do it on each one of these. So let's do one more here. Again, you just loop that. Put that one around. That goes up. And then just wrap it around. Good enough. Okay, cool. So that is one attachment, two attachment. We'll zip tie the bottom. You don't even need to. I like to reinforce it a little at the bottom, but that is all you do to attach them. And then once they're attached, it is all done. Your cattle panel trellis will be fully built and ready to be planted on. We did 3 of these and I am so happy with how they turned out. It was an easy build and this is going to be a nice, strong, sturdy trellis to hold up my cucumbers, green beans, cantaloupe, and acorn squash this summer. So if you got to the end of this video and enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, and if you want to see more content like this or just watch how my garden grows this summer, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video.